empowering minds, amplifying voices, and transforming lives. This is the Untold Stories of Hope podcast, brought to you by the Destiny Connect Foundation. Your hosts, Zion Enogewu and Puffy Medupe.
Hello there, everyone. Dimachilone, Sanibonani. Hello, everyone, wherever you are, all over the world. Wow, what an exciting day it is today. What an amazing day that we are again here together at Untold Stories of Hope podcast, brought to you by Destiny Connect Foundation with myself, Puffy Medupe. And also, I'm not always alone. There's also my co-host. There's also Zion Enogewu and Omoye, that we are working together and we are doing so great. It's always an exciting moment just to come in this platform, be able to share knowledge and impart wisdom to many people globally all over the world. Remember, Destiny Connect Foundation is an organization really that cares about the love for humanity. We want to empower you, we want to amplify you and transform you. And here at Untold Stories of Hope podcast, this is a platform where we believe that everyone who comes into this space is somebody who's going to impact your life perfectly. You can visit Destiny Connect Foundation on LinkedIn, on Facebook, on YouTube, or you can say destinyconnectfoundation.org, and that's our website, whereby you can be able to subscribe and also become part of this podcast home. As you know, every episode that we do here is just about calling phenomenal people into the platform, people who are coming with wisdom that can transform your life. And today we have a phenomenal, exceptional woman who's a global impactor. She's also a leader. She's a woman empowerer. She's got so many positive qualities about her that I can talk about. She's a country leadership team official for USA Global Goodwill Ambassadors Foundation. She's also a founder of Impact Sierra Leone. She's an SDG advocate. She's a motivational speaker. She's into women empowerment, leadership, and also she's an author. And her name is none other than Dr. Adama Kalokoh. We are welcoming her with open hearts and glad spirit because we are going to talk to her on Untold Stories of Hope podcast today about planting seeds of hope through skills, training, and empowerment. Dr. Adama, welcome to Untold Stories of Hope podcast.
Thank you so much for that introduction. Thank you for hosting me today. You're being available. I want to show my gratitude. I'm honored to be here to use my voice and my platform and just really share our story, our journey. I am honored. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That's amazing. I mean, it's always great, when we have guests, into the podcast, and we are just learning a lot. We are just being motivated, inspired, and there's a lot of growth and development through many of our speakers who are coming here. So now, today we are talking about something very significant, Dr. Adama. We're talking about planting seeds of hope through skills, training, and empowerment. According to your understanding, as you introduce yourself more, tell us about the work that you are doing. What do you understand about skills, training, and empowerment?
Yes. So I'll start by really just telling you that I am a daughter of Africa. I'm a descendant of Sierra Leone through my parents. So I'm first generation born. So I did not grow up in Africa and all of the different, life things that go on there. However, I was privileged to have parents who instilled in that in me, and they taught me what it is to give back, what it is to be a part of the African thread. And so I had that in me as I visited Sierra Leone for the first time in 2003. And when I went, I opened my eyes, I opened my ears, and I opened my mouth, and I saw that they have a lot of food insecurity. It's something that Sierra Leone, especially a country who went through conflict, still struggles with. But there's so much land. All right. And so when you have these issues of poverty, you also know that there's a lack of education, there's a lack of opportunities. And one thing that I am always about is that when you learn something to do with your hands, it is an open door. but opportunity. And so for me, growing up, I learned about skills through my mom. She was a seamstress. She learned and sewed all our dresses when we were children. So I've always learned that your hands can create something that will open doors that can be beautiful, but also can also provide for you. And as you know, you have poverty on the left, but you have opportunities. And I decided that I was going to use Impact Sierra Leone to do just that, to impact and change lives, not just for today, but for tomorrow. And we were so honored to be welcomed by a community, a rural community of farmers in Sierra Leone, West Africa, who went through so much, especially after the war. And by me going there, visiting there, and letting them know that we want to adopt your community, we want to see your community thrive, not just survive. And we decided that we were going to do that by our program. I started a program called the Seeds of Life so that we would have a sustainable way of reaching the unreachable. And through that, it was an open door to create skills training. And so for me, my growing up, of course, like I said, I have parents who grew up in the farm, who grew up, who know poverty, who know the ins and outs of not having. And from that, that led me to wanting to bring that opportunity to my communities in Sierra Leone. So skills training means so much more to me than just, learning skills. That empowerment came through our program. Seeds of Life stands on empowerment, on educating, equipping. And that is something that I'm so grateful that we get to do. And it continues to grow and grow every day.
You said something so powerful, Dr. Adam. You said something so powerful. There's someone out there listening to this now, and you said you might be faced with poverty on the left, but you are faced with opportunities on the right. I love that. And it leads me to what I want us to talk about now. Share a defining moment in your life, when you realized the power of skills training and empowerment. I mean, from what you said, that, Sierra Leone, the people welcomed you. But what was that defining moment that made you realize that, okay, we have to have skills and we have to do empowerment?
Yes. So the defining moment, like I said, we decided we were going to focus on a community so that we can really see them grow. We had been doing everything from sending school supplies to helping orphans. We were really impacting many areas in Sierra Leone, but it took us really deciding that we were going to take up the United Nations goals to adopt a community and really see them thrive. And through that, we were having outreach events where we were always engaging with the people. I'm all about engaging and making sure that people are a part of the outreach and the efforts that we're bringing. And there was one day, like I said, sometimes as a leader, sometimes you don't see the results. You don't feel like you're doing enough. And there was a particular day we had the Christmas of Day of Hope. And I always make sure I take pictures and I speak to the people, even though we're not speaking the same language. I make sure they know that they're a person. And one of the women who never really used to speak, she's a part of our Women's Agribusiness Collective. The women came to me and said they want to have their own. They had been led by the men in terms of like the farming activities, but they said we want to have their own. And I created a Women's Agribusiness Collective of 40 women, giving them the opportunity to get tools, but also to have a safe space. And one of the women came to me after the Christmas program and said, thank you. They call me Mama. Thank you, Mama, for what you're doing. You make us feel like people. And I almost cried because I didn't realize how much just a little bit of hope, having them eat and feel that festivity and, have the celebration, make them feel a part, that makes them feel like people. And women who never used to speak, when I first saw them, they were just quiet. They just looked at me like, because they have people that come in and out. There are people that come in and out of villages and don't really help them. They take pictures and they go. And the woman said, you make us feel like people. Thank you. They said, thank you. She looked me in my eye and just said, thank you for making us feel proud of our village. And I almost felt like, wow, I've done something. And that was a moment that made me feel keep going, even when it seems hard, even when the funding is not always there. Keep going, because there's somebody in this village that's going to be better because of our seeds that we're planting. And not only that, the way they come together now, when it's time for brushing, right now it's farming. I don't have to even add. They say we are brushing because we know the mami get for calm, the mami they get for try for help we. And so seeing a village come together and be a part of the change, that's the defining moment for me.
You know, what you said is so powerful. When someone says, thank you for making us feel like human. I mean, that is powerful. How many people, like you said, Dr. Adama, who go and take pictures, they pretend like they want to help and they are not actually helping.
Yeah.
And you even said something so powerful, that, you didn't just, highlight or diagnose the skills that is required there, but you brought resources, those materials that you took there, so that you can help excuse me, those people, so that they have something tangible to start. So tell me, why do you believe that skills training is one of the most powerful ways to break the cycle of poverty and limitations? Because of course you can give people tools and you can give them, but they can still not use them. But what makes you believe this is very powerful and this can be used to break this cycle of poverty and limitation?
Yes. So as I said, skills training to me is deeper because it is a part of creating. It's a creation of a product. It's a creation of a service. It's a creation of something that, like I said, lasts not only today. It's something about sustainability. Sustainability is so important, because I can just send water. I can send them clothes. I can send them shoes. But for them to be able to create something, when I can leave and go to another village, I can feel like that they will be able to eat. They will be able to thrive. They will be able to eat more than once a day. They will not see so many of their loved ones die without diagnosis because they have that education. Skills training is education, and education is power. We've heard that so many times before. And so for me, I see that the people who feel like they don't have hope, like I said, this is a farming community. All they know is farming. And I had a taste of it because I told them to take me to the farm, and just seeing that the harshness of just farm life for me in itself, I see that, there has to be more than this, and for me, I'm about, seeing the results turn into something that can feed you. And like I said, food insecurity is such a huge problem. And so I see that giving them something where they can have in their hand and they can create it and they can actually become a part of a marketplace. Just to think about it, I'm a visionary and I look at this as we're going to create a marketplace, not only for Pointu Village, rural Sierra Leone, but it is a tool that can open the door for that virtual exchange, because I am a product of diaspora. And so I have to use my being born in America as part of the resource, as part of the solution. There is no mistake of where you're born. And so I try to make sure I use that leverage, because there are a lot of people, when I go to Sierra Leone, I started this journey by telling the story, sharing the pictures of me going to the village. And people in America, they may have their own viewpoint. They thrive off of what I tell them. The story will not be complete if we don't tell it the way it should be told. And so I do count it that I am a bridge of impact. And so when I look at how we have come, I'll tell you, there's one particular event that I did last year for Women's History Month. I went to Sierra Leone to throw an empowerment workshop with the women farmers. And when I say it wasn't amazing, I thought about it. I went to Amazon, I ordered artboards. I said, I want to do sip and paint. I want to introduce some new things, something new. There's something about the newness, introducing something new to a person that changes their whole mind because it's something they've never done before. And these women had an opportunity to escape from their harsh life for that one day. We had a women's empowerment workshop, and I had my volunteers and I go. We provided lunch for them. But not only that, we provided them a canvas, a blank canvas, paints, and a paintbrush. And it was so funny because I gave each of them with their children looking behind. And I hope to share pictures with you. I just want to create that visual. This is something they've never done before, but the look on their faces, and even as we were passing out, they said, I didn't get my own, please, my own, because they know that there's something beautiful about to happen. And so each woman had their canvas board. And at first I said, draw anything. But then I realized, this is something new. I had to go individually and we traced a stencil and the women painted and the joy
Yeah.
on their faces as they were doing this. These are women who go to the farm all day, but
Yeah.
they painted something. Then they were able to get up, stand up next to me with their picture in hand and just take a picture with me. And they had it was so a proud moment. So I said, you know what? Can you imagine if all of these, there's an artist in one of these women and their
Yeah.
artwork can be featured all over the world. Can you imagine how many mouths this can feed? So skills training is beyond a way to bring opportunity. And I wanted to make sure that you understand that whatever we do, the
Yeah.
stakeholders and the chiefs of the village, they always come because they
Come
know
on.
this is development in our community. And they are always grateful. Even the old woman called me mama. And so I just wanted to paint that picture of that was the glimpse that showed me that a skills training center can take this moment of them creating
Yeah.
their art piece to another level.
I
You know,
mean,
the
people just
journey.
want to feel humane. People
Yeah,
just want to feel like human beings. I mean, it's the
exactly.
little things that matters. I always tell people that it's those little things, that sometimes we look down on, and they are the ones that matters a lot, because
Exactly.
people just want to be reminded that you are a human being, you are valuable,
Yes.
you are important, you are loved, you are cherished, and there's someone thinking about you somewhere out there. I mean, when you talk about villages, Dr. Adama, you're talking about places where most people don't even go there. Even some of the opportunities might be scarce, when it comes to that.
Very sorry.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you are joining us now, you are still with me, Pafimi Dupi, on Untold Stories of Hope podcast, brought to you by Destiny Connect Foundation. And we are really excited because we are hanging out here with Dr. Adama Kalokoh. And she's just a phenomenal, a global leader. And there's a lot that we are talking about on Untold Stories of Hope podcast, where we empower your mind, we amplify your voice, and we transform your life. All right. Destiny Connect Foundation, check us on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, and also on our website, whereby you can subscribe to the podcast, destinyconnectfoundation.org. We are talking about planting seeds of hope through skills training and empowerment. So, Dr. Adama, let me
Yes.
ask you something very nice, and I know you are going to break it down very well for us.
Yes.
What are some of the challenges that you are facing in this mission that could have really stopped you or prevented you from continuing with this, but you are still standing and you are still overcoming? You spoke about funding earlier, obviously. You spoke about funding challenges there and there, but I believe there are other obstacles also that might have prevented you from moving forward.
Yes. Resources come in the form of financial, but it also come in the form of human resources. And I always say human resources is the most important, because it's a part of the capacity building factor. And in any organization, you want to build your capacity so that you cannot just shut down shop. And so I always face challenges, just, having genuine people that believe in your mission, that are not looking for opportunities. You always have to kind of have that open eye to just kind of, because people come to you all the time. Hey, I want to join your organization. I want to be a part. But there's differences. When someone wants to join on the international side, most times it's because they feel like, you have financial support that can come their way. And so for me, just making sure that I have solid volunteers on the ground, because I'm here in the US. Okay, I'm here in the US, but I am impacting in the Sierra Leone, West Africa. And I can't do that without a solid team of foot soldiers that are honest, that have integrity, and that will carry out the mission of Impact Sierra Leone. And so communication is something that can be challenging. I have a WhatsApp group that I created because that's our port of communication. And so sometimes you have those, you have to understand the reality of things is that there are hardships in Africa. The jobs are not as I guess, strong in terms of for the youth. Let me say and speak on behalf of the youth. That a lot of them are really, really having a hard time financially. So sometimes connecting with me may mean they need to use their credit or they need to be online in the network. So those challenges are real. That's the reality of it. And so you have to have a mindset that understands the people, your people that you're working with. You got to understand the situation. And so I always come across as motivating and making sure I understand the situation, and I'm grateful for every time and effort, because the time is also is important, you know. And so that's a challenge, making sure that I have a team that is honest. And so I've had people come and go. That's just the way it is. But I have some people that have been with me from the start. And so those are the people, you know, you got to look at that. Yes, people have left because they may see that the opportunity is not there, as organizations don't grow overnight. You have to put the work in, you have to be dedicated, and sometimes you have to sacrifice. And so I'm grateful that there are some who have sacrificed, because they see that at the end of the day, Impact Sierra Leone has started from here. And if you look at where we started, we were just working with orphans, but it has expanded into a whole sustainable development, I would say, powerhouse, because everything we do now is a transformation. So like I said, people, but also here, having, I wear a lot of hats. I wear a lot of hats, but I try my best that each day I face, it's going to be a joy that comes out of me. And so I have children. I'm a single mother of two beautiful children. And so as I think about them and their future, you know, it's just trying to make sure they have that work-life balance. And so I have a lot of people that come out to me, hey, I want to do what you do. I love what you're doing. I said, okay, but I want you to know that there's a cost to success. There's a cost to growing your organization, and you have to be very organized. So, you know, challenges come and go, but challenges will never leave. And you have to have that resiliency. You have to know and believe in what you're doing. Working with community people is not always easy. The communication can be hard. Sometimes they feel like the money should be here right now. And so there's a constant re-educating that has to go on when it comes to working with them, because sometimes they feel like, hey, we, you know, when they maybe see you posting, may say, oh, we have money now. So that perception
Yes.
is something that you have to constantly work on. And for me, I make sure that I keep my team in a reality moment that, hey, because doctor is front of my name does not mean doctor has millions of dollars. So that, I think that education is something that is a part of every organization. You have to re-educate, because I'm working with a community that is not literate in our sense. You understand? So I have to be sensitive, and I have to make sure I have that compassion. So running an organization, an international organization, you have to have that compassion and care, or you will give up, or you will just be frustrated at the lack of ignorance in some manner. So I think that that's kind of pretty much paints a picture of some of the challenges. I think that we face challenges just trying to keep afloat, you know, and keep the doors open. And so I think that we've grown a lot. And
Oh yes, and you know, Dr. Adama, you said so many powerful things. I mean, just recap on two things that you said. You know, having the right people on your side, I noted that very well. Having the right people on your side, I mean, that's what you spoke about, and I agree fully with you, because sometimes, like you said, as a visionary, people will come and people will go, you know, and sometimes people will come with expectation of money. Like you said, you know, people will be saying, okay, here's Dr. Adama Kalokoh in USA, there's dollars written all over her face, and yay, yippee, we are going to gain a lot. And like you said, re-education, you know, making people aware, you know, making people understand the processes and everything that is involved in terms. And I can really, you know, relate to some of the challenges that you are speaking about. Now you are mother of two, you're a visionary. Like you said, you've got so many hats to wear because you have to be there, you have to be here, you have to do this, you have to do that. And I love also what you said earlier that, sometimes it's like you said, you just want to be joyful every day because I'm sure there are days when you wake up and it doesn't feel like, a good day because there's just a lot of challenges that you are going through. And one of the things that you mentioned about re-education, I want us to talk about the resistance that you face, especially from people who believe that their circumstances will never change. How do you work on their mindset? I'm a mindset coach. So I know how it's difficult to change someone's mindset and, change their perspective, about their situation and about life. So how do you deal with resistance from people who believe, look, they are poor, they believe that, what, Dr. Adama, don't come here and tell us that there's a bright future. Look at our circumstances. Yes, you bring some resources, you bring some tools, but we don't see us coming out of this poverty. How do you deal with that resistance?
Yeah, so I love that you're a mindset coach because the mind is our superpower. I don't care if you are the poorest of the poor, the mind is everything. And so I constantly try to be consistent with the community that I'm serving. Like I said, we adopted the community because I felt I wanted them to I wanted to have that feeling that I was a part of them. I was not an outsider. And so I think that consistency, when people see that you really do care, people will forget, what is that? I can't remember that quote. People will forget what you said, but they remember how you made them feel. And I do feel that over the years, like I said, we've had numerous events with this village, numerous workshops. Every Christmas, we give the kids school supplies. This year and last year, we gave the adults hygiene items, and we make sure we give the respect to the stakeholders and chief. So I do feel that how much you invest in a community really does make a difference in them feeling that you're not doing enough. And like I said, I have a team that goes as much as they can every month, and we have meetings with them. And I provide food and I provide nourishment. When you feed people, whether it be by physical food, spiritual food, you are planting a seed, and it does help make them feel that, this one no care self, I won't say that doesn't mean that they don't complain, but it's not a long time because there's consistent outreach that we're doing with them. And I think that makes a difference in them feeling that way. And now, like I said, we've gone from just bringing school supplies and events to now building. There's something about building in a community that makes them feel, you know what, we can't complain. And so much so that as I was there in February, and we were there at the land where the future skills center is going to be built, and also the school. These are things that they have been begging for because they felt that no one comes to this place, only Impact Sierra Leone. And they are never shy to tell me that. So I think that the investment in a community, investment in people, and when they see it and they see the consistency, it does help, if there are going to be people that complain, there are twice as many people that are saying, I want to say thank you, and so it doesn't last. So I do encourage people, invest in a community to the point where they see it, they feel it, and that they are part of it. Yeah. I'm someone that says we're all at the table. No one is just sitting, the table of impact is what I call it. We're all at the table. And I think that by me telling the story, I make sure I always have a photographer. I make posters for everything because, like I said, this is a community that is illiterate by sense. So I empower them, and they love it because they can learn from it. And I am empowered to inspire. I am victorious. When they see these things, they say, wow, this woman, it make me feel, better about myself. And the children, there's so many children in the community. And so when I go and take miles from the US to go and take them stuffed bears, to go and take them, school supplies, the parents, I feel like it is a magnitude of impact for them because they do see that investment. And so I think that is for me, Impact Sierra Leone, we have shown this community, that they do matter, and I believe that it takes time, to kind of curve out that, we don't have even food to eat, but what we do is to make sure that we're consistent, and so it's something that is changed their mindset to think more positive.
You're a phenomenal woman. You're a phenomenal leader. And I can imagine, you spoke earlier about sacrificing, I can imagine how much resilience it takes for you to bounce back from so many things, that are trying to pull you down and the pressure you are facing every day. Like you said, part of changing the mindset of people of Sierra Leone is also to be consistent with them, be consistent with them. If you keep on instilling, those positive, values and principles long enough, eventually they get it and they start to understand what is it that you are doing. And I really admire you for that, because, you've said, like you said, people don't always remember what you said, but they always remember how you made them feel. And I love what you said earlier, because you kept on repeating this, these words of how the women of the village will come and say, thank you for making us feel like human beings. Thank you for that. And I'm also standing here, saying to you, thank you for the great work that you are doing with Sierra Leone and also other organizations and empowering the lives of other women out there. Now, I want us to look into how you also personally get involved. I'm sure when those people see you, they see you as a mother. I'm sure they call you mom, or they call you mama, or something like that. And most of them, even though collectively they might be dealing with challenges, but I'm sure there are those who are struggling with past failure, backgrounds. Some of them, they are struggling with many issues, that are trying to diminish their confidence, because the environment, the past, the failure, some of them, it has already defined their future. But do you have those who come to you and, cry to you, use your shoulder to cry on, to lean on? Do you have other programs apart from just skills? Do you have those programs whereby, you empower their emotions, and, equip them with some of their emotional well-being, and how they can come to you and say, okay, look, I'm going through this. I was talking to someone, Dr. Adama. It's a real world we are living at. You can imagine how many women are being, molested every day. How many women who are living under abuse. How many women, go through suffering silently. How do they approach you, or how do you approach them in that regard?
Yes. So I am definitely a people person, and I think that they recognize that. Whenever I go, like this past, I visited that village, I would say for 3 years now. We established a relationship with them in 2021. And I launched Seeds of Life program so that it's easier for us to really have that way of connecting with them, establishing programs so that they can get help. And so whenever I go, I'm always embraced by someone. And I'm not someone who looks down on people. My dad and my mom always taught us that people are people. The same blood that runs in you runs in me. And you must make sure that you treat people as the way God has intended. So I do get people that will just, share stories with me, but that's why I have a team, because I'm not alone. And I think that that's important, that you do know that you have people that can work with you, because like I said, I'm not there in Sierra Leone. So there's so much I can do at some moments, but having a team that I pour into, like I said, I created a WhatsApp group, not only for my team, but I also created it for, we have a core team in the village of volunteers that include chair ladies, and in each village have, chairwomen that kind of lead things on behalf of the women. So, they can be a mouthpiece. And I get a lot of people that will reach out to me. Hey, this person is sick. This person needs this. But I do know that the reason why we decided we need a safe haven, I wanted this
Yeah.
skills center to also include a wellness piece because I graduated in public health and from the University District of Columbia. So I'm very well aware how key mental health is, wellness. It is in order for a person to really be fully able to have that capacity, they need to be well in their mind. And for a
Yeah.
country who went through civil conflict for 10 years, can you imagine? Schools were closed, you know, people weren't working. A lot of stuff was destroyed. Just imagine the mental impact that it's still having. I always tell people that the war is over, but the mental war continues.
Yeah.
And I have
Yeah.
to have that in mind. And so that's why I try to do all the different things that kind of complement. When I make the posters, I created a banner. It's something about the power of words and people feeling like they belong to something that helps them in those moments where, I don't know, and we did lose some people. We lost one of the women farmers in January. It broke my heart because I was there in February and I wanted to meet
Oh.
all of the women for them to feel and see that, hey, I'm still here with you. But it just motivated me. It
Yeah.
motivated me. It ignited something in me to say, we have to keep pushing. We have to keep going. And so that, I think my voice, I always say, your voice is your victory, your voice is your power. I make sure that I speak their language. I blend with them. It's a
Yeah.
very important thing that you feel a part of their culture and they see that, you're not just here to use us, abuse us, but you really care,
Yeah.
and they look at me and they say, hey, mama, the mommy don't come, the mommy don't come. And they met me, the women met
Yeah.
me and they had a song. Do you know how much that makes you feel when people who, like I said, they did not have the voices amplified, but to meet them, the women who are mute, to meet me as I'm coming into the village with a song, and they all got Ashobi. They all they took time to prepare for my coming. It makes you
Yeah.
feel that they see me as someone who really does care and want to see their village. And so that for me, like you said, it's the little things. The little things are the big things to me.
Yeah.
Um, and I'm grateful because it has now, because of the seeds, because of me, I make sure we take people on the journey of impact. Because on social media, you're going to see those stories. You're going to see us as the women and the community people as they plant the cucumbers. You're going to see the harvest. As they plant the okra, you're going to see the harvest. And not only that, they see it. So it's a revolving impact, and so I'm really honored that we are in this space. I make
Yeah.
sure that when they see me, they feel me.
Yep.
They feel, and I always come with gifts. This time I came with fans for the women. And like I said, these are the little things that make them feel like, I may not know how things are going to go, but this moment here is giving me hope. And that's what it's all about.
I love what you said. When they see me, they should feel me.
Yes.
What message do you have for someone out there, Dr. Adama, who feels like there are no opportunities for them? I mean, we are living in this world. There's a lot of vulnerable people. There's
Yes.
someone who has dreams, who has hope, but sometimes hopelessness takes over. You said something
Yes.
earlier that sometimes people get excited when they see programs happening, but when they realize that the money is actually not coming now, it's not really coming now. People can easily give up. They can easily let go. They can easily,
Yes.
retaliate and say, you know what, I don't want to do this anymore. I've been trying for so long. What message
Yeah.
do you have for someone who feels there are no opportunities as there's nothing out there for them?
Well, I would say what I've always said before, where there's life, there's hope.
Hmm.
I can't come to you and speak to someone who is going through a more dire situation and hope that, hey, just keep your head up. I do know that I'm a woman of faith.
Yep.
And so it does start in the mind. Everything starts in the mind. How you think is how it would be. And so one thing that I do, especially when I'm engaging with the women and the girls, I try to make them realize what they do have as a starting point. You have to look at what you do have. You may not have a home that has electricity, but you have a home, and that's a starting point. And you have things in your home. Everything around you is a part of the hope. I keep hope at the center because, even me, I'm not a millionaire, but I keep a hope within me. If I can see, then I can see an opportunity. If I can hear, then I can listen for opportunities. If I can breathe, for me, like I said, it's a starting point. I don't say that I can relate to every situation that people go through, but where there is life, there is hope. If you have a phone and you have a way, I tell people, if you can connect with the world and you use your resources to connect, because you don't know who can be able to help you. You don't know the helpers that are around you. If you were in a community and you can say, I can start by picking up the trash, you don't know if that could be an opportunity for a better tomorrow. So I don't have a magic answer because, again, I know people are going through so much. It is a lot of things going on in the world, even here in the U.S. There's so much going on. But if you can be a light in any way, even if it's in your family, if you have a family of siblings and you say, you know what, why don't we do something? You merge together
Yeah.
the mind. There's something that can be done even in a village, like I said, we have women who want to learn how to make fabric right in their
Yeah.
village. Now, resources will come, but if their mindset is not prepared for the action, then they
Yeah.
won't do anything. So your mind is your power. I want to remind everyone that, there's always someone in a worse situation. And I just tell people, sit down, embrace your faith, or whatever that is. And I trust me, if you're consistent, let's just say you start something, you want to start a program right in your village, you can do it. You just have to sit and think and look around. A lot of times
Yeah.
our eyes are not open to what's around us. Our eyes are
Yeah.
only focused on that one problem. If you focus on what you don't have, you won't realize what you do have, and you won't go forward to get more.
Yeah. In that
That's
regard, Dr. Adama, in that regard, you say so many powerful nuggets there. And these skills programs that you are doing, how
yes.
do you make sure that they create a long lasting impact and they are not just temporary relief? Because sometimes that's the fear of people. Sometimes when you
Yeah.
bring certain things, they're like, oh, we know she's going to bring it now. Before we know it, she will be gone. So how do you
Yeah.
make sure that these programs are long lasting, and they create the
Yeah.
impact, not just temporary relief?
Yes. I think it's important that I say that connections and collaborations matter.
Yeah.
Impact Sierra Leone is not alone. If I think about the impact of this building and how much it's going to, go forward, I think about what's going to be yielded. And that's why it's important that we create classes where they can create products that can actually lead to a sustainable action. So not only they will be
Yeah.
able to sell and create a marketplace. When you create a marketplace right now, there's a gap. There is no marketplace in that village. They have to travel to a neighboring village if they want to go and buy their products. Or they
Yeah.
have people that will just come and sell. But can you imagine if they create a marketplace where people are coming to them? That is sustainability. And also, I am here in the US. And like I said, there's no mistake that I was born here. And I am a big proponent of connections and collaborations. And so, because of the power of our story and the
Yeah.
consistency that we've had, we've gotten notice of people here in the US, businesses. And we have two partners in this project. The Strategic Collaboration Network, led by an African American woman. She is a business consultant, and
Yeah.
she has always been impressed by Impact Sierra Leone and how we have continued to be impacting the communities in a sustainable way. And so she has pledged her support and put me on platforms and introduced me to so many businesses. That is powerful, and that lets people feel Sierra Leone and
Yeah.
connect to Sierra Leone, especially those who discovered their DNA. A lot of people have come to me and said, "I just found out I have Sierra Leone roots, and I want to work with you." Do you know how much impact that can be for the next years? We
Yeah.
also have a partnership with the Pearl Hill Foundation, and this is a nurse practitioner, and she's all about wellness and health. And we gratefully have a partnership with the nurse, the clinic. One thing about going to the village is you impact one area of the community, it impacts others.
I'm
And
telling you.
so we were grateful to be introduced to the clinic, and they provide services for 14 other villages. But we have brought them, because of our investment, because investment is key, we brought them medical supplies. And through this partnership,
Yeah.
this year, when we go and cut the ribbon, we have a lot of people from the U.S. That are going. So we have a Threads of Impact humanitarian visit. And what that does is it brings more people to the table to invest so that they know about the Skills Training Center, because no one
Yeah.
will have impact all day long. But if no one knows about you, there's less opportunities to help that effort grow. And so we're all about impacts and growing.
That's
And we're
powerful.
grateful that by everything working, and
Yeah.
we have the kickoff on this Saturday. Our construction engineer, we're going to have a meet and greet. This is the kickoff. These partners want to come to Sierra Leone in December
Yeah.
2025, and that is, for me, is it gives me assurance that we have more people that will learn about the skill center. Not only that, the solar that will be on the roof will have more people that will want to teach virtual, teach the jewelry classes, teach the woodwork. That
Yeah.
virtual connection, I believe, is going to send a message to Sierra Leone in a great way, but also other countries. And so this is I would feel like our game changing moment,
Yeah.
that will allow this skills training center to be more. It will also have a cultural exchange, because they're going to be creating products in Sierra Leone that will be
Yeah.
sold here in USA. So all the people that always say, "Bring me back something when you go," now we will have our women, the men that are going to be creating stuff. They're going to have that opportunity to create something that people can purchase, and that is going to be that continuous cycle of sustainability.
As we wrap up, if you could plant one final seed of hope in someone's heart today, what would you say to them?
Well, I always have a motto. Our motto is "United we stand,
Yep.
together we rise." I know that normally the quote is, "Divided we fall," but I do feel that if you're divided in your mind, if you're divided in your daily activities, you're divided in your household, you can't stand. And if you can't stand, you can't move. And if you can't move, there is no movement. So I would want to tell people that in every one of us, there is a movement. It's up to you to make that movement go, that movement change lives, that movement be a light. And I do feel that we're all created with greatness. I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're in a wheelchair. There is greatness in you. There's victory in you. And when you walk in that, I always say you walk in that, you speak in that, it makes you feel that victory. It makes you do things different. So there's a movement in you. If you haven't found your purpose, keep searching for it. When you find your purpose, you act on it. You
Yeah.
start a movement and you ignite the world. You're created with greatness.
How do people contact you? If they want to communicate with you and know more about you and
Yes.
your programs.
Well, I do want to say that I am all over social media. I am a social butterfly. So if you go
Yeah.
on LinkedIn and you look at Dr. Adama Kalokoh, you will see me there. You will see me on Instagram. And I can share that link with you. But Impact Sierra Leone has its visibility. So we are Impact Sierra Leone on LinkedIn. We are Impact Sierra Leone on Facebook. We are Impact Sierra Leone on YouTube. And I promise you, when you go to our website at impactsierraleone.org, you go to our social media platforms, when we say the journey of impact, we take you on the journey. So if you want to see all that we have done in Sierra Leone and beyond, and how we have planted seeds of hope, please go to LinkedIn, connect with me today, because we need more partners of purpose. We need more people at the table of impact, so that we can continue the work that we're doing. But not only that, we want to bring seeds of life right here in the U.S. as well. So that we can have that cultural exchange. And I do have a book, by God's grace, that's coming out soon. That's going to tell the story of a young descendant of Sierra Leone who found her voice, and her voice became her victory. And the proceeds of the book will go into the Seeds of Life program. So once it's published, I do have an in-person fundraiser on May 17th. You will be able to get a copy of my book and support my journey, so that I can continue doing this, not only for today, but for those who come behind me, because there's so much power in lifting each other up. So please find me on social media. I would love to have engagement with you. If you're in another country, let's talk about how sustainable development and skills training, vocational training can transform lives.
Ladies and gentlemen, Dr. Adama Kalokoh on Untold Stories of Hope podcast, brought to you by Destiny Connect Foundation. We thank you so much, and we wish you nothing but the best. Keep on rising, keep on shining. You know very well that if you are watching this episode now, you can also become part of the podcast, by visiting destinyconnectfoundation.org. Make sure that you subscribe to the podcast. You can leave us a message there. You can become part of this family where we empower your mind, amplify your voice, and transform your lives. And we are grateful to have had Dr. Adama Kalokoh today, speaking about nothing other than seeds of hope through skills, training, and empowerment. And we are grateful for watching this episode today. I'm sure that there's a lot of empowerment and nuggets that you have taken. She said something so powerful lately now before she concluded. And she said, you might not have a home with everything, but you have a home. So recognize all those positive things that are around you and see them and allow them to give you hope. Follow Destiny Connect Foundation on LinkedIn. Go to YouTube and also subscribe, watch, and like our episodes. Share and invite someone to become part of our community. My name is Pafimi Dupi, all the way from South Africa, and I'm really grateful to have been your host today. I even finished my coffee that I was having at the beginning of the podcast. And don't forget that if you also want to be part, of the podcast, come and bring your untold story of hope, because we believe that there's people all over the world that you have a story that can give hope and change the life of someone else. And we are looking forward to see you on the next episode. You've got all the social media contacts. You've got every way of reaching to us, and we are looking forward to find you. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. And Dr. Adama Kalokoh, thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you for joining us on today's episode of Untold Stories of Hope podcast. We hope you enjoyed and you were inspired by today's conversation. Remember, you can get more access to resources plus join a thriving global community of change makers by visiting our website at destinyconnectfoundation.org. Please subscribe to our channel and spread the word. Don't forget to turn the notification on. Until next time, keep inspiring your world.